My Game Boy inspired space roguelite has been out for a little while now, and it's received some downloads. So I thought it would be good to run down 5 key things I've learned from the development of Starship Sprout. Number 1, animate everything. Not literally, obviously some things just simply don't need to be animated, but what I discovered is that putting animations on things like the plants, for example, brings a lot of life to the game. Now, animation might not be your expertise, it's certainly not something that I'm particularly experienced with, but you can create quite a cool janky style, especially if you're using a retro art style or like an 8-bit theme. The janky effect that we're seeing with the plants on Starship Sprout, I think it looks quite cool. Initially, however, my idea was actually not to animate everything. Like the plants, for example, were just going to be static. Same with the HUD items, the inventory items, I never planned to animate them. Maybe I've gone a little bit too far, and maybe the actual lesson is to learn some restraint. Nevertheless, I am really pleased with the animations, and I really think that it brought the game together, the theme at least. Number 2, use a game state manager. Initially, I was switching between scenes using sub-processes in Pygame. Now, if you're experienced with Pygame, you'll know that this is an incredibly inefficient way of calling different scripts and processes. You're essentially opening a new window every single time you want to load a new scene. With a game state manager, you can turn each scene into its own function and then call that function from the game state manager. This is so much more efficient, and it means that scenes load almost immediately. There's no delay, there's no flickering of the window. Before I created the game state manager, which was recommended to me on the r/Pygame subreddit, I was actually considering adding loading screens to a game made in Pygame. Bear in mind the load required to run this game is minimal. Number 3, in the same vein, use a sound manager. So just like the game state manager, create a script that contains all of your sounds which you can call in other scripts. So this gives you complete control over all of the sounds in the game, and it allows you to more easily play, pause and stop sounds from other scripts. So one issue with Starship Sprout is there is no options menu because of the way I created the sound manager. I didn't put all of the sound effects in the sound manager, which means I don't have like a central place to control all of the audio. The only things I put in the sound manager were the theme music, so the title theme, the planet ambience. Now in terms of like player experience, not having an option menu might seem like a minor thing, but actually, what if the player wants to listen to their own music whilst playing this game? What if they want to play this game whilst they're on a call? Because of the way I've built this, they can't do that. Next time, I will be creating a central sound manager so that players have much more control over all of the sounds in the game, such as, adjusting the volume of sound effects and the music. Number 4, not everything needs to be animated by hand. Now, what do I mean by that? So let's take the plants on the planets, for example, again. I animated them frame by frame in a pixel art editor. So I sat down and I created each frame individually, but you don't always need to do that. There are some things that can be animated in-engine. For example, the particle effect on the Starship Sprout itself is entirely generated by Pygame itself. I didn't animate that, I just used a particle generator. Similarly, if we look on the planet, when you come across a collectible item, you'll notice that it hovers up and down. Now, with 15 different collectible items, I didn't want to sit there and animate them, and I didn't want to sit there and animate each of them frame by frame. So instead, I programmed the animation in Pygame. And number 5, if you're feeling a little down on your game, or you're not sure that it's coming together, try and add some sound effects and music. I found that once I added the music and sound effects, especially the plant collection sound effects, the game really come into its own and my vision was realised. Before that, it was quite hard to see the final product. I was playing this very stylized game in complete silence. So it might be a good idea to add even placeholder sound effects right from the beginning, just so you can get a better overall view of what your game feels like. And here's a little bonus thing that I learned. This is in regards to marketing. Marketing is really hard, and that's something I knew anyway. I've studied marketing in university, and I've never really been very good at it. So what I learned is that I need a much more comprehensive marketing plan next time. And in fact, I've already decided that I'm going to shake up my business model, which I'll discuss in a future video. But case in point, market your game as soon as possible. Once you have those assets or placeholder assets, if you're comfortable sharing the development of your game, do it. And there you have it. That was 5 things I learned from developing my roguelite Starship Sprout. If you have any questions or feedback, let me know. And if you haven't downloaded Starship Sprout already, head over to its itch page, which I will link in the description. It's available for free now. I decided that charging for it just wouldn't work, and I want people to play it more than I want the money.